The hot afternoon sun sat over the village like a watchman. Inside the small front yard of the Ocon house, a loud sound cut the air. PAA. Chike's palm landed on his mother's cheek. Her head turned to the side. The blue scarf on her head slipped. The old clay water pot by the door trembled and fell, breaking into pieces. Grace gasped. Even the chickens stopped scratching the sand. For one long second, nobody breathed. Chike pulled his hand back slowly, like it was no longer his. His eyes were wide, his chest went up and down. Mrs. Ocon held her cheek. She did not cry. She just stared at her son, the boy she had carried on her back to the market, the boy she had fed with soaked gari when there was no food. Grace stepped forward, fists tight. "Are you mad, Chike?" she shouted. The word hung in the air like smoke. How did things get this bad? Years before, life was simple. Mr. and Mrs. Ocon had 2 children, Chike and Grace. They were not rich, but they were close. Papa Ocon taught Chike to fix a broken lantern and how to greet elders with respect. Mama sold tomatoes and dry fish. She always said, "We don't have much, but we have our name." Then Papa fell sick and died. The house grew quiet. The nights felt longer. Mama promised, "I will do my best." And she did. She woke early, worked late, and prayed loud, but the sadness in Chike's eyes grew into something hard. At 18, after secondary school, Chike left Anambra for Lagos. He told Mama, "I will make money, real money." In Lagos, he met new friends, boys who knew how to trick people and make quick cash. Soon, Chike had shiny clothes, a new phone, and loud laughter that did not reach his heart. He stopped picking Mama's calls. When he did, he spoke fast. "I'm busy, Mama. Don't worry." 7 years later, Chike drove back to the village in a big car. Music blasted. He sprayed money at the junction to make people shout his name. He booked a hotel room and slept there. Even though he had started rebuilding Mama's house with cement blocks and a new zinc roof. He only wanted people to see that he had arrived. That same week, an old man, Mr. Abel, came to Mama with a heavy face. "Your son insulted me," he said. "He called me poor and laughed." Mama's hands shook as she begged, "Please forgive him. He is young." When Chike finally stepped into the yard, Mama's voice was calm but firm. "My son, why did you talk to an elder like that? You are not acting like the child your father and I raised. If I did not know myself, I would say you are not my son." The words hit Chike like a slap to his pride. Anger rose in him like fire. His mind went dark. Then PAA, his hand moved before his brain could stop it. Now, back in the hot yard, the world felt still. Grace faced him, eyes burning. "Touch her again and see," she cried. Chike looked at his mother, and shame washed over him. He took one step back, then another. I didn't mean." The words broke in his mouth. He turned and rushed out through the wooden gate. He walked fast down the dusty path, heart hammering. From the corner of his eye, he saw the shrine tree by the village square. A shadow stepped out. It was the chief priest, with white chalk on his forehead and a staff in his hand. The old man's voice was low and strong. "Chike Ocon," he said, "the earth has heard your hand." Chike froze. The staff tapped the ground once. Twice. "What does that mean?" Chike asked, throat dry. The chief priest looked at him without blinking. "If you leave this village without your mother's blessing, the road will not carry you." The wind rose and shook the leaves. Chike's phone buzzed in his pocket, 3 sharp messages in a row. He glanced down at the screen, and his face drained of color. Or, "K-boy, run now. Officers are in the club." Timo talked. "Your name is on the list. Bank alert. Temporary hold on your account due to investigation. Unknown number. Everybody is saying it was you, boss. Good luck." He swallowed hard. The chief priest stood in the red dust like a tree that could see the future. "If you leave this village without your mother's blessing," the old man said, "the road will not carry you." "I don't have time," Chike whispered. His voice shook. He turned and ran. At the car, his hands fumbled with the keys. He turned the ignition. The engine coughed and died. He tried again, nothing. Sweat rolled down his face. "Start, I beg," he said to the steering like it had ears. He waved two boys from the square. Push! Push! They pushed. The engine finally came alive with a loud growl. Chike jumped in and sped off, dust spraying behind him. The tar road out of the village looked long and empty. But the world didn't feel empty. It felt like it was watching him. A hawk circled in the hot sky, the warning beat in his head. The road will not carry you. He shook it away and pressed harder. Halfway to the highway, his right front tire screamed and burst. Bam! The car dragged to the side. Chike grabbed the wheel with both hands and fought the pull. The car stopped inches from a small ditch. His heart pounded so loud he could hear it. He stepped out, checked the tire, and saw a rusty nail stuck like a tiny knife. He changed to the spare with shaky fingers. Back in the car, he drove again, slower this time. At a junction near the main road, he saw a checkpoint white truck, men in uniforms, a red stop sign. Chike's hands turned cold. He switched to a smaller, dusty street he used to take as a child. The path was tight, bent like a snake, and led him to the highway. Only then did he breathe. By nightfall, Lagos lights blinked like a city of stars, but the stars weren't for him. At the ATM, he pushed his card in, declined. He tried another machine, declined. He tried a third, declined. The machines did not care about his big talk or his shiny watch. He called K-Boy, switched off. He called Timo, ringing. Then it cut. He tried the third friend people, called Shadow. No one picked. The road gave him a cold shoulder. At his apartment gate, the padlock had changed. The caretaker stood with folded arms. Your friends came, the man said. Officers came too. They carried bags. I don't want trouble. You cannot sleep here. Chike felt like the ground opened beneath him. He dragged his feet to a nearby hotel where the staff knew his loud laugh and heavy tips. Today, the manager's smile was thin. Cash only, the man said. Tomorrow, Chike begged. One night. The manager looked left and right, then nodded. Last time, in the room, Chike locked the door and sat on the edge of the bed. The TV showed a news banner. Officers break fraud ring, cars, cash seized. He saw a blurred clip of a black SUV like his, a table full of cash, and faces turned away from the camera. He turned the TV off with a shaky hand. Silence filled the room. In that quiet, he heard Mama's voice from far away, like a soft song. We don't have much, but we have our name. He pressed his palms over his eyes. His mind flashed the slap, his hand flying. Mama's scarf slipping, Grace's shout. Shame burned him like fever. Bang! 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 Someone hit his door. Chike jumped. A hard voice came through the wood. Open up. We need to talk. He tiptoed to the peephole and looked. Two men held ID cards on lanyards. Between them stood Timo, the friend who always laughed too loud. Timo was not laughing now. He smiled a small, cold smile like a knife. Chike, Timo said, looking straight at the peephole, as if he could see Chike's eye behind it. Open the door. Chike's breath came fast and shallow. His hand hovered over the lock. One voice in his head said, Open it. Act calm. Another voice shouted, Don't be a fool. This is the end. Timo, Chike said through the door, trying to sound casual. It's late. Wet-in you want? Timo chuckled, but the sound was thin, sharp, like broken glass. You know wet-in I want. We fit talk inside. The man on Timo's right shifted, his ID badge swinging. We're from Special Investigation Unit, he said. We can do this the easy way, or the hard way. Chike's stomach tightened. His eyes scanned the small hotel room, one narrow window, a ceiling fan that hummed lazily, a wardrobe that couldn't hide even a child. His phone buzzed on the bed, a message from Grace. Grace, Mama dey sick. She no dey talk since yesterday. The words stabbed him. He pressed his lips together to stop the sudden heat in his eyes. Another loud bang shook the door. Last warning, Chike, the officer barked. Chike's mind raced. He grabbed his backpack, mostly empty, just a spare shirt, his phone charger, and a small bundle of cash Mama had given him during his last visit. He opened the window quietly. It creaked, the sound tearing through the tension. Hey! A voice outside shouted. A man in the alley looked up, pointing. No time. Chike swung his legs out, dropping into the narrow lane behind the hotel. His sandals slapped against the wet ground as he ran. The Lagos night was alive with noise car horns, shouting, a generator buzzing somewhere far off. But all Chike heard was the pounding of his own heart. He cut through back streets, dodging piles of refuse and groups of men who turned to stare. He didn't stop until he reached the bus park. The smell of roasted corn and exhaust fumes filled the air. A bus conductor shouted, Enugu, Nsukka, Onitsha, last one chance. Chike's eyes darted to a bus marked Onitsha, Newi, Anambra. His chest rose and fell. Maybe it was time. Maybe the only road left was the one he didn't want to take. He paid in cash and climbed aboard, sinking into a cracked leather seat at the back. The engine coughed to life. Through the dirty window, he saw the hotel manager speaking to two uniformed men. Timo was there, scanning the street like a hunting dog. As the bus rolled out of Lagos, Chike kept his head low. He didn't know if this was running away or running back. Either way, every bump on the road made him remember the chief priest's voice. If you leave this village without your mother's blessing, the road will not carry you. By dawn, the bus rolled into Anambra. The air was cooler here, but Chike's palms were sweaty. He didn't go straight home. Instead, he found a corner in a small roadside eatery. The owner, a stout woman with kind eyes, served him beans and bread without asking too many questions. For 2 days, he stayed hidden in a cheap lodge, walking the village only at night. He couldn't bring himself to face Mama. Not yet. He told himself it was shame holding him back, but deep down, he knew it was fear. Fear that she might not even look at him. On the third night, as he slipped through a narrow path near the stream, an old voice spoke from the shadows. You came back, the chief priest said. His white chalk marks glowed faintly in the moonlight. But you still have not done what the earth demands. Chike's throat tightened. I can't just walk in. Not after what I did. The old man stepped closer, his staff tapping the ground. If you don't, your mother's breath will leave before your shame does. Chike's heart froze. What do you mean? The priest looked at him for a long moment, then pointed toward the village. Go, now. Chike ran past the stream, past the mango tree, past the old well until Mama's house came into view. The door was half open. Grace stood there, her face pale in the moonlight. She's calling your name, Grace said. Chike's feet felt like they were sinking into the earth as he stepped inside. On the bed, Mama lay still, her eyes half closed. Her lips moved, but the words were faint. Chike bent low, trying to hear. Chike, my son, she whispered. Is that you? Yes, Mama. It's me, Chike said, kneeling beside the bed. His voice trembled like a candle flame in the wind. Mama's thin hand searched the air until it found his. Her fingers were warm but weak, her grip barely there. I can smell Lagos dust on you, she murmured. But my heart? It's still the same. Grace stood by the door, arms folded tight, her eyes red but sharp. You finally came, she said coldly. 7 years of pride and one slap that broke her spirit. Chike kept his head down. The shame from that day burned in him like fresh fire. Mama, I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't mean it. I don't know what came over me. Mama gave a soft laugh that sounded more like a sigh. A hand doesn't move without the heart pushing it. You were angry, but I forgave you long before you left that day. Her words cut him deeper than any insult could. Why? He asked, his voice cracking. Because you are my son, she said, opening her eyes just enough to look at him. I want you to stand like a man your father would be proud of. Not hide behind lies and quick money. The gods are not angry because you slapped me. They are angry because you lost yourself. The chief priest's warning echoed in Chike's head. If you leave this village without your mother's blessing, the road will not carry you. Mama, Chike said, his throat tightening. I've lost everything. My friends turned on me. The police are after me. I don't even have a place to sleep in Lagos anymore. Grace gave a small, bitter laugh. You thought Lagos was your kingdom. Now look at you. Grace, Mama said softly, without looking at her. The tone alone made Grace's lips press shut. Mama turned back to Chike. Do you want to change, my son? Chike nodded quickly. Yes. I'm done with the street life. I don't know where to start. She was silent for a moment, breathing slowly, as if weighing his words against his past. Then she said, "There's one thing I can give you. But you must promise me, Chike, in front of your sister, in front of the gods, in front of your father's memory, that you will never go back to that life." "I promise," he said, his voice steady now. Grace's arms dropped to her sides. She stepped forward slowly, watching her brother like she was looking for cracks in his words. "If you break it," she said, "even the land will reject you." Mama gave a small nod, then gestured to Grace. "Bring the tin box from under my bed." Grace bent down, pulled out an old metal box with rust along the edges. The lock clicked open. Inside was a folded land document and a small brown envelope. "This is the last piece of land your father left for us," Mama said. "I've decided to sell it. The money is for you to start clean." Chike's eyes widened. "Mama, after everything Shh," she said, pressing her hand to his lips. "This is not because you deserve it. It's because I refuse to watch my son sink when I can still throw him a rope." Grace looked at Mama in disbelief. "Are you sure about this? After what he—" "Yes," Mama interrupted, "because I believe the same hands that hurt can also heal." Chike felt a tear roll down his cheek. "Mama, I won't waste it. I swear." But just as he spoke, a knock came at the door, 3 slow, heavy knocks that made the whole room go silent. Grace and Chike exchanged a look. Mama closed her eyes and whispered, "The road is testing you already." The door creaked open. The wooden door swung wider, revealing 3 figures standing in the dim moonlight. At the front was Timo, behind him 2 men in plain clothes. But their cold eyes and the bulge of handcuffs at their waists said enough officers. Chike's heart dropped to his stomach. He stood quickly, blocking their view of Mama on the bed. "What do you want?" he asked, his voice tight. Timo smirked. "You didn't think I'd find you. Lagos is small. The village is smaller." Grace stepped forward. "Who are these people? What's happening?" One of the officers spoke. "Mr. Chike Okon, you are wanted for questioning in connection to a fraud case in Lagos. You can come with us quietly, or—" "Wait." Mama's voice cut through the air. Weak as it was, it carried the weight of command. Everyone turned to her. She was sitting up now, her scarf slightly loose, her eyes steady. "Before you take my son, let me speak." The officers exchanged a glance but didn't interrupt. Mama pointed at Chike. "You think you've come here to arrest a criminal," she said. "But I see a man at a crossroad. I will not stop you from doing your job. But I will tell you this, if you take him tonight, the man you'll meet in court will not be the man I raised. If you give me 3 days, you will meet a different man entirely." One officer frowned. "Madam, the law will still be there in 3 days," Mama said firmly. "But my son might not. 3 days. To decide if the road will carry him or bury him." Chike stared at her, his chest tight. "Mama." The room was heavy with silence until Timo stepped closer, smirking. 3 days won't change anything. A dog doesn't stop eating meat just because the butcher closed shop." Chike's eyes locked on Timo's, and for the first time, he didn't feel fear, only something solid, like a decision taking shape in his bones. "Maybe not a dog," Chike said quietly, "but a man can choose where he eats." Timo scoffed. Big talk for someone hiding in his mother's house. Mama's hand gripped Chike's wrist. Her voice dropped to a whisper only he could hear. "The rope is in your hands now. Use it, or hang with it." The officers shifted impatiently. "What's it going to be, Chike?" one asked. Chike looked at his mother, at Grace, then at the men who could end his freedom before sunrise. His next words would decide whether the road finally carried him or swallowed him whole. Chike took a deep breath, feeling every eye in the room on him. For the first time in years, his mind was clear. He was tired of running, tired of fear, tired of being a man his father would have been ashamed of. He turned to the officers. "I will not run again. But I'm asking, let me take my mother's blessing before I go with you. Let me fix at least one thing in my life." The older officer studied him for a long moment, then gave a small nod. "You have until the end of the week. But don't disappear, we will find you." When they left, Timo lingered in the doorway, his smirk fading. You really think you can wash away years of dirt in 3 days? Chike didn't answer. He simply closed the door, locking it with a final click that seemed to shut out his old life. Mama watched him quietly from the bed. So, have you decided, my son? Yes, Mama, he said, kneeling beside her. I want to live the way you taught me. I want my name back. I don't care if it takes all my life to earn it. Grace crossed her arms, but there was less bite in her tone now. We've heard that before. This time, Chike said, looking her in the eye. I'll prove it. Mama reached for the metal tin box again, her hands trembling slightly. She pulled out the folded land document and the brown envelope. This land is the last thing your father left us. I will sell it, and with the money, you will start a clean business. Mama, no, Chike protested, shaking his head. I've already taken too much from you. She smiled faintly. You will not take it. You will earn it. Think of it as an investment from a mother who refuses to bury her son before his time. The next morning, Grace accompanied Mama to the town's small law office. By afternoon, the land was sold to a farmer from the neighboring village. The payment came in a bundle of fresh notes that smelled of hope. Mama placed it in Chike's hands. This is not for clothes or hotels, she warned. This is your second chance. Waste it, and you waste me. Chike nodded, swallowing hard. I won't waste it. With help from a trusted cousin in Onitsha, Chike used part of the money to rent a small shop near the building materials market. But he could stock it. He first went to the police. He was arrested and tried, but all of a sudden, the evidence was not enough for prosecution. His lawyer was good, but the gods seemed to be giving him a chance. He came back to his shop, stocked it with cement, roofing sheets, nails, and paint things he knew the village always needed. Grace, still skeptical, kept passing by the shop to check on the goods, but after weeks of seeing him open early, deal honestly with customers, and go home tired from real work, her suspicion began to fade. Word spread fast. Chike Okon, the boy who once left the village in arrogance, was now working like an ordinary man. Some came to mock at first, but they left surprised when Chike greeted them with respect. The chief priest himself stopped by one afternoon, leaning on his staff. You see, he said, a slow smile forming. The road will carry you now. Months passed. The business grew. Chike expanded into supplying larger construction sites. He learned to save, to keep records, to plan ahead. For the first time in his life, his money came without fear that someone might knock on his door in the night. One Saturday, he returned home earlier than usual. Mama was sitting on the veranda, peeling cassava. Grace was beside her, sewing a wrapper. When Chike dropped an envelope of cash on the table, both women looked up in surprise. What's this? Mama asked. Profit, Chike said with a smile. For you. You gave me the rope, Mama, and I've been climbing ever since. Mama's eyes glistened. She reached out and pulled him into an embrace, her voice soft against his ear. Your father would be proud. That evening, as the sun sank behind the mango trees, Chike stood outside, watching the road that once seemed to reject him. It stretched ahead now, clear and steady. This time, he was ready to walk it. Please, like this video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos.